Preparations climax as inauguration of the 10th National Assembly holds today.
Staff of the National Assembly will be requested to stay at home to ensure that the process goes seamless and that we don't have any security breaches.
And on Good Morning Nigeria today, we shall discuss the inauguration of the 10th National Assembly.
Now, the long-awaited 10th National Assembly inauguration is finally here with us following the proclamation by the President, Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu.
As announced by the clerk to the National Assembly last week, the event, that is the inauguration, will take place today, Tuesday, the 13th of June 2023. And it's expected that 109 senators elect and 359 members elect of the House of Representatives will be sworn in.
It will be recalled that shortly after the February 25 general elections, a member-elect from Taraba State, Ismaila Amehanchi, who was elected to represent Jalingo, Yaro, and the Zinc Federal Constituency, died, hence reducing the number of members-elect from 360 to 359.
And in fact, Kirian, we can further reduce that number to 358 because the former Speaker of the House of Representatives, Femi Gbajabiamila, won his re-election to the House of Representatives, but he now has a new appointment as Chief of Staff to the President. So we're expecting some 358 members elect to be sworn in a matter of hours. Now, the new National Assembly members will perform one of the first major functions for the day, and that is electing their principal officers. Those officers include the Senate President, Deputy Senate President, as well as Speaker and Deputy Speaker of the Senate and the House of Representatives.
And indeed, that would eventually put to rest the long battle of intrigues, horse trading, and the political gimmicks that characterize the race for the top job position in the National Assembly, which many have described as unprecedented and also interesting.
If not intriguing.
Of course,
that's right. Of course. The power is also among the top APC contenders, especially the former Minister of Niger Delta Affairs, Senator Godswill Akpabio, the former Zamfara State Governor, Senator-elect Abdulaziz Yari, and the Chief Whip, Senator Orji Uzor Kalu, is one many would remember for a long time.
In fact, President Bola Tinubu had to wade into the situation with a meeting of the 109 senators-elect and the 359 member of the House of Representatives elect across political parties at the State House last week. However, in the Green Chambers, two aspirants for the House of Representatives speakership position, Aliyu Betara and Yusuf Gadi, have stepped down from the race. The duo reportedly agreed to step down for Tajuddin Abbas after a meeting with President Bola Tinubu and Vice President Kashim Shettima.
The 10th National Assembly leadership race has, of course, witnessed a lot of drama, and the favored or preferred candidates obviously could emerge victorious. And the concern for many is whether the legislative agenda, policies and priorities are ultimately result-oriented for cohesion, national growth and development.
Absolutely, Kingsley. And for the 9th Assembly, the end of the road came finally with a valedictory session last Saturday, and senators observed that many jinxes were broken, including the petroleum industry bill and the offshore-onshore dichotomy amendment, among others.
Well, according to the now former president of the Senate, of course, he still has a couple of hours to operate as Senate president. Ahmed Lawan. That's right, Ahmed Lawan. He's called the 9th Assembly pretty high in the three core areas of lawmaking, representation, and oversight. Now, he also said that a total of 874 bills were introduced in the Senate, 162 of them were passed, and 104 assented to by the president, making it significantly higher than those of previous assemblies.
Similarly, the Speaker House of Representatives, Femi Gbajabiamila, shared the same view, scoring the 9th Assembly higher, saying the 9th Assembly will be remembered as one of the most productive in terms of output and outcome due to service delivery to Nigerians. Today, we review the performance of the 9th Assembly, described as a rubber stamp, despite, of course, the successes they have, recorded and the expected dividends of democracy in the 10th Assembly. I am Kirian Umayo. Welcome to this edition of Good Morning Nigeria. It's good to have you join us.
And I'm Kingsley Osadolo. I joined my colleague Kirian to also welcome you to another edition of our program, but we are live on the network service of the Nigerian Television Authority. And as always, we are here in our headquarters studios in the nation's capital of Abuja. Pretty clear and nice morning today,
exactly.
If you fly, you couldn't wish for better weather conditions to fly. Exactly. Now, in the course of the program, we would have our regular complimentary segments. These include the Super Review, Business, and others. For now, we join Frama Paye, who has the highlights of the morning news. Good morning, Frama.
Good morning, Kingsley. Good morning, Kieran. Good morning, Nigerians. And here is the morning news. President Bola Tinubu has indicated his commitment towards education development as he signed the Students' Loan Bill into law. President Tinubu was in the office on Monday, a public holiday for this purpose.
The promise he made has been kept. He has just signed that bill into law, which henceforth will allow or enable our indigent students to access the federal government loans to fund their educational pursuit.
As part of activities to commemorate the 2023 Democracy Day celebration, a parade was held at the Presidential Villa, Abuja, where President Bola Tinubu witnessed special change of guard.
Commander-in-Chief, Senator Bola Ahmed Tinubu, it's regarded as one of the most critical persons in the struggle for the attainment of that mandate. And that is why we're very happy that today he's here as president.
The Nigeria Police Force and the Initiative for Mental Health and Peace are collaborating towards ending mental health challenges. A policy document to address this challenge has been unveiled in Abuja.
Working is to bring mental health to the surface, to people, to everyone, to know that there is something called mental health which is to be perceived as important as just a fever. As a human being, some kind of mental health knowledge is required for you to intervene with someone.
All is now set for the inauguration of the 10th National Assembly as preparations reach advanced stage to have a seamless event.
Most of the staff of the National Assembly will be requested to stay at home to ensure that the process goes seamless and that we don't have any security breach.
And a new strategic plan to reinforce Nigeria's catfish value chain has been launched to offer a roadmap to make this massive and vital sector more resilient and efficient in providing affordable food to Africa's most populous nation. This plan, developed and implemented at the instance of the Food and Agriculture Organization, FAO, in partnership with the Federal Ministry of Agriculture and Rural Development, also seeks to enhance job creation and business opportunities while reducing harm to human health and lessening the burden on the environment.
This strategy focuses on promoting the development of catfish value chains, enhancing its productivity, improving market access, and ensuring environmental sustainability.
Federal government alerts livestock breeders and poultry farmers on outbreak of anthrax in neighboring countries, calls for caution and vaccination of animals in states of Kebbi, Sokoto, Niger, Kwara, Oyo, Ogun, and Lagos. A statement by the Permanent Secretary, Federal Ministry of Agriculture, Dr. Ernest Afolabi Ernest, says Nigeria was alerted on the outbreak of the zoonotic disease in northern Ghana, Burkina Faso, and Togo. The disease, which is deadly, has so far claimed lives of farmers and their livestock in neighboring countries. The general public is therefore advised to desist from the consumption of hides, better known as pomo, smoked meat and bushmeat, as they pose serious risk until the situation is brought under control. That's the news for now. Good Morning Nigeria continues with Kingsley and Kieran after this commercial break. Please do stay.
My victory does not render me any more Nigerian than my opponent, nor does this render them any less patriotic. They shall forever be my fellow compatriots, and I will treat them as such. They represent important constituencies and concerns that wisdom dare not ignore.
Nigeria means a lot to me.
And Nigeria means peaceful cohesion.
My country.
We continue to pray, and then hopefully we will come to understand that unity of purpose, unity of living together.
Our ethnic beliefs and background and culture is our strength.
Ever since the amalgamation period of 1914 to date, about 109 years ago, the people of Nigeria live very peacefully with one another.
I think diversity helps a lot to enhance robust development in Nigeria.
All over the country, you have so many ethnic groups, over 250. That is enough to tell you that this is a blessed country, that God has kept, together as one individual entity.
This is the University of Africa. Here, everybody has a degree of something. But the most important qualification is imagination. Her reason to imagine is slay. His reason is to be the GOAT. Theirs is to take the beat and make it lit. They want to test edgy till it is fire. Their reason for imagination is to add riz in style. And their reason for imagination is just stunt. So no matter what your situation, just use your imagination.
Bye, Mom.
He's going to play in this weather. Why did you let him go? He might fall ill.
And if he doesn't go out for practice, how will he win more trophies? To protect our family from illness-causing germs during the rainy season, we use Dettol soap every day.
Dettol with Germ Defense gives you protection. Rainy season brings a lot of germs, and Dettol soap's Germ Defense protects you from up to 100 illness-causing germs. Dettol soap is endorsed by the Nigerian Medical Association. Be Dettol Show.
Your skill is key to your professional growth in the competitive broadcast media industry. Take advantage of the following programs specially packaged by NTA Television College Jos to upgrade your skill. Marketing in the era of digital broadcast. Date 13th June to 23rd June 2023, 2 weeks. Drama Production Workshop. Date 3rd July to 21st July 2023, 3 weeks. Intermediate Online News Reporting Skills. Date 24th July to 11th August 2023, 3 weeks. The course fee for the 2-week course is 120,000 Naira, while the fee for the 3-week course is 150,000 Naira only. Accommodation inclusive. All courses will hold at NTA Television College near Old Government House, Rayfield, Jos. For further inquiries, please call 0803-079-5335 or 0806-980-9807. NTA Television College, Jos. Training you to be the best you want to be. Registrar Announcer.
Now it's time to turn to business on this edition of GMN. Subsidy removal triggers quests rather for gas and electric vehicle as alternative to petrol. Details with Aleka Banachiarwa on Business News.
With the effects of the fuel subsidy removal being felt, experts in the automobile industry have urged Nigerians to look towards electric and gas as alternative sources to petrol. They, however, note that for Nigeria to achieve this objective and meet up with global best practice in the use of gas and electric vehicles, there must be collaboration between the government and the private sector, but with a caveat that proper legal framework and policy articulation are required for effective migration.
Nigeria should follow the global trend of moving towards electric vehicle. I mean, there's no two ways about it. It's cheaper, it saves the environment, and it also makes our people to own vehicles of their own.
We can't be locked out of the whole world. I think it's a good idea that we have to start with something.
The whole idea is creating solutions to problems that people are always facing. Problems like high cost of transportation, global warming, there's so much damage petrol-powered vehicles are causing to our environment. So these are reasons we went into electric vehicle.
Already, some gas filling stations exist in Lagos, Benin, Ajokuta, Ukini, and Abuja. From the global oil markets, prices fell on Monday ahead of a United States Federal Reserve meeting as investors tried to gauge its appetite for future rate hikes amid concerns about the prospect for Chinese demand and rising Russia supply. Brent crude futures was down $1.42 to $73.37 a barrel. U.S. West Texas Intermediate crude was at $68.61, down $1.56. With business news, Alika Opanachi, Arua.
Thank you very much, Alika Okpanachi Arawa, for the business news package, and good morning, Nigeria. Up next, we'll take a look at the headlines on the front pages of some of the papers we have this morning.
Yes, Chukwudi Okoliwaja has just joined us for the review of today's national dailies. Chukwudi, you're welcome to the program.
Thank you, Kirian. Thank you so much. It's a bright day. Surprisingly, there wasn't heavy traffic as we were coming. I thought this was going to be everybody's first day of the week. But lo and behold, it wasn't quite, thick traffic.
Well, things happen from time to time.
Exactly. And people are trying to adjust, see how they can fit into the new system.
Surely not 3 days or 2 days of the week, as in Edo and the other states, that started it.
Exactly.
Okay.
Well, we have three
papers. Let me begin with the Blueprint newspaper. Blueprint newspaper, below the name flag, you have the headline: Anthrax disease, stop eating pomo and bushmeat. Federal government warns Nigerians. 10th National Assembly inauguration, Titanic as defiant Yari battles favored Akpabio today. Governors backing anointed ex-Akwa Ibom governor, that's Makinde and Uzodinma. NEF, as Northern Elders Forum, slams Shetima, once level playing field. Mischief makers twisted my position on power balancing. That's according to the Vice President. The photograph there shows Bola Ahmed Tinubu inspecting the Guard of Honor mounted by officers and men of the Nigerian Armed Forces during the 2023 Democracy Day celebration at the Presidential Villa in Abuja. Nigeria Air Peace COO, a rep member, faults Sirika's claim. Plateau owing 11 billion naira in salary arrears. That's according to the new governor, Mutfwang. Tinubu signs students' loan bill into law. CSOs seek compensation for heroes and heroines of June 12. Remain hopeful for a better nation, and PDP urges Nigerians. Also, very quickly, from the window page of leadership, we have the headlines above the nameplate. Tackle insecurity, corruption, and poverty, Khan tells federal government. And how June 12 shaped Nigeria's democracy. It's attributed to Akume and Kingibe. The lead story, of course, is on the inauguration of the 10th National Assembly and the choice of presiding officers in a matter of hours. My advocacy for power balancing twisted. That's Vice President Shetima. Parents beg for release of 92 Chibok girls. Gunmen kill one, kidnap 2 monarchs in Boji. Period.
Yes, just similar, stories as we have in Punch newspaper this morning. Anti-graft groups want NDIC proved. The story is on page 32. We are on Punch newspaper. All right, we will see that very shortly. ASU expressed doubt over student loan. That's on page 20. Family demands presidential entitlements for Abiola. Family demands presidential entitlements for Abiola. That's on page 20. Now, the lead story on the Punch, National Assembly. Of course, APC anointed candidates, rebels to slug it out. Yari, others failed to step down for Abio. Abbas as leadership pool holds. Izunaso Musa withdraw. Lawan endorses Abio after Tinubu meeting. All right, that's all that on page 2. Now, PDP, Buhari's years of locust-rigged oil sector, Kokori, is on page 7. Parents beg federal government to rescue remaining 92 Chibok girls, on page 28. Lalong government owed workers 11 billion naira salary arrears. Also read that, it's on page 28. Tinubu governors urge Nigerians to defend democracy. All right, Chukudi, let's begin now.
Kirian, thank you so much. The principal issue today, as I choose principle deliberately because it's related to what's happening today. That's the big issue today, the election of principal officers for the National Assembly, of course. Everything being equal, the Senate will get a president and the deputy Senate president, the House of Representatives, a speaker, and the deputy speaker. It's good news for Nigerians as it all indicates movement forward for the new government. Everything has to be in place for it to do its work. What concerns us, though, is the quality of national frame of mind or thinking of those to be elected. Are they going to be pan-Nigeria thinkers with love of country and by implication its peoples uppermost in their minds? How good at it would these principal officers be in terms of making the political rainbow coalition of the National Assembly? Because that's what it is now. LP, PDP, APC, each of them have a reasonable share. In terms of the NNPP, I just mentioned the three,
YAV.
Oh, yes, they're all there now. And that means that there is seeming, I call it a rainbow coalition. There would be differences in outlook because being in one party, in places where party politics is real, being in a different party means a difference in opinion from the person who's in the other party. The Democrats and the Republicans in the US aptly demonstrate this. But in spite of that difference of opinion, are we going to have principal officers who would let these people know that the governance of the people, having their well-being and welfare uppermost in their minds, it's very important beyond partisan disposition or outlook or acts from these people? That is what should concern us. Of course, we wish the politicians well, but whatever happens, we should also keep telling them that the welfare of Nigerians is the first consideration for them. whatever their other leanings are. We had this, some of us had this impression that when you are not in the ruling party, in the governing party, your job is to oppose and oppose and oppose and oppose. Not necessarily. The people's welfare, the people's well-being, which is almost constitutionally stated, should be the first thing you consider. Let the national officers that are going to be principal officers to be picked, please do the best they can so that Nigeria gets the best from their leadership. That's my take on that. There's a second story I'm looking at here. Parents beg Tinubu to rescue remaining 92 Chibok girls. You know, when it doesn't quite happen to you directly, at a point you begin to think it happened to a tree. There's an Igbo proverb, you know, to that effect. Yala Ganang, mother of Rifkatu Galang, and who is one of the captives, you know, in Boko Haram, you know, camp or tent, and father of another captive, Zana Lawan, whose daughter, Aisha Lawan, is also in captivity, made the appeal in a letter they purportedly sent to the president. So reports the Punch. Now, the efforts of the security forces in getting quite a number of the girls out of captivity should be commended. Quite commendable. But the job is far from done. Even if it's just 2 girls still left in captivity, we need to treat it as a matter of urgency. You know, it's a priority. And what we ask ourselves is it still top shelf for us? Or are we sweeping it, you know, into the background? That wouldn't do if that is the attitude. But I don't think that is the attitude. We are only asking our security forces not to relent in the effort to get the remaining girls out. And talking about these people, you know, when things happen, the way we treat trauma in this country is not at its best. You're practically on your own when you experience something that really devastates the mind. When these things happened, what was the attitude of the country to the parents? How much did the NGOs do to make sure that even the parents receive succor? I'm talking about psychological succor. Because if you don't treat trauma properly, trauma can actually kill. And there are whispers that some of the parents died. You understand what I'm saying? You know? So it's very important that we also consider all this. The Chibok girls matter is still unfinished business.
Yeah, well, Chukudi and my colleague Kirian, thanks for the 2 issues that you have raised. But I want to return to the issue of the inauguration of the 10th National Assembly, which is taking place today.
Yes.
And the election of the presiding officers for the 2 chambers. I drew attention to this some while back, but I want to return to it. The 2 issues I want to use to preface it will be: 1, sometimes you hear members of the National Assembly reinvite, I say reinvite because we should know, our attention to the imperatives of the provisions of Section 4 of the Constitution as amended. That Section 4 of the Constitution donates the power to the National Assembly and, of course, State Houses of Assembly to make laws for the peace, order, and good governance of the country. And there is a presumption, therefore, that lawmakers have at the back of their minds at all material times the order, peace, and good governance of the country. And the ingredients that make all of this up. And from time to time, lawmakers themselves will remind us that when they are in the National Assembly, what is uppermost in their mind is the national interest. And I would imagine that that national interest includes justice, includes equity, and includes adherence to the principle of federal character. So in the choice of your leaders, these are also factors that ought to play out. If, of course, you are fully apprised of these imperatives, those are factors that should play out. Add to that the core element of democracy, which is separation of powers. But the optics that we have seen in recent weeks would seem to suggest that it is less of separation of powers and more of aggregation of powers. A party has won a majority in the two chambers of the National Assembly. It is the business of that party to say, look, how do we get our members to preside? I know everybody will make reference to what happened in the 8th Assembly, when, of course, the ruling party seemed to have lost out in particular. But what is concerning is the fact that members-elect of the 10th National Assembly have taken the quest for the choice of their leadership beyond their own boundaries into the executive realm, into the public realm, and you are just wondering, for whom are they canvassing support to become leaders amongst their own members, amongst their own colleagues? Bearing in mind that if you are a speaker or you are a Senate president, you are first among equals. It is not, you are not bolted to that seat. Your colleagues can decide to say, look, today we are tired of you. Once they follow due process and procedure, you become a floor member.
Yes.
So why have we seen these optics of taking, I'm sure you saw the billboards on some of the highways on Abuja. And so you are just wondering whether, whether what is happening. Is it the stakes that, I don't know, gentlemen.
Things that are supposed to be behind the scenes
precisely
are screaming in public. And it doesn't tell a good story.
We have always failed to learn from history. That's very important. We had the Second Republic, like this balancing, established at the both chambers. Shagari was president, Okume was vice. Our friend whom we've talked about is Beryl, and
Joseph Wyas
was the president. Then on the other side we had Umezuke. So there was this balancing, deliberate balancing for that matter.
And the men were chosen properly.
To ensure that all the mentioned justice, equity, and national cohesion will be achieved. In this case, it become another politics altogether. Billboards everywhere. On pages of newspapers, you see people advertising that they want to run for one office or the other. Till this morning, I'm not sure some persons have given up. No, they're still campaigning, to run. And persons from the, from areas where you even have the president, he's still running. So what are we doing? It's just a question of thinking very well. Now, there's this issue of Bomo we talked about here.
Kira, I know we'll get to that, but I'm sorry, let use the analogy. Those to whom you've been campaigning have no voting rights today when members-elect will be choosing their leaders.
So why be bold?
So, yeah, if I want to be the chairman of a quoted company, do I have to campaign to the entire world, or even if it's not a quoted company, do I have to campaign to the entire world? I campaign to those who have voting rights.
Yeah. It's too much money. It's too much money, because if you know the cost of those billboards, the ones that was the one at Airport Road that stretches for over 2 or 3 kilometers, owned by just one particular person, campaigning for people who pass on the streets. Why Kisley says, go inside the chamber and campaign and get your vote.
Kirian, you're counting money. I am thinking about wrong mentality, which in the long run is a problem for us. People are not thinking properly.
The wrong mentality is as a result. What has happened is as a result of wrong mentality. That's what you get. That's what money is the focus. Now, this issue of a disease, that just be ravaging Ghana.
Anthrax.
Yes, and the Federal Minister of Health is advising Nigerians to beware of Bomo. Why I'm interested in this Bomo is that I have been privileged to do a documentary on Bomo. And look, the process of getting that thing out is something that nobody would like to experience. I mean, if you're somebody who's decent or who cares about hygiene, right? You use tires, to burn these things, and you know what is in tires.
Oh, sure.
And that is the highest level of carbon monoxide that you can generate. These are human generation. And by the time you burn the Bomo and clean it properly, science has also told us that Bomo does not have any nutrient. Bomo does not have any nutrient. So I wonder why you find it in soup, you find it in every form of food that we eat in this country. So why Bomo in the first place? Recall that there was this set of Bomo sometime in Lagos, that became poisonous.
They were toxic.
Became toxic. And the man and co were arrested at the time. Right. So This more thing is not necessarily my thing, you know. I wonder, we should be able to drop it. Bushmeat, no, I'm not sure about bushmeat because I'm interested in that one. Bushmeat is a natural thing.
Make sure he's not keeping a keg of palm wine behind him.
No, but the current concern arises from the outbreak of anthrax.
Yes.
Anthrax is a deadly zoonotic disease.
Very, very.
There's no question about it. And I think that the authorities should stop up the campaigns. But how you get rid of momo? The thing is, don't just get momo on your menu. That's for those who are enlightened. And ultimately, once the demand falls, they will
let them just be scientific about these things. Because when they said that if you ate a bushmeat, you would get was it COVID or whatever. I actually looked for bushmeat that time. Ebola, please. And it came very cheap. I enjoyed myself.
Oh, exactly.
No, but some bushmeat, I understand, can be poisonous, depending on the way the bushmeat itself is harvested. And I said it because I heard some people discuss it sometime in the past to say, look, be wary of buying bushmeat when you are traveling on the highway. That some, apart from the security concern, that some of the bushmeat, like grass cutter, for instance, I hear that the grass cutter prefers urine also. So those who are seeking to entrap grass cutters put urine in some receptacles and then lace it with poison that would instantly kill off the grass cutter.
Yeah.
Of course, when the grass cutter ingests the poison and dies, the poison doesn't go out of his system.
That's true.
And then you would now go and eat the same poison, and then you go.
The tissues retain the poison.
Absolutely. Like what used to happen in the 60s and 70s before enlightenment came. You know, gamalin. Gamalin was a very dead. Some people would just go to the river. Gamalin 20. They pour it in the river, and then fishes would just come up floating there.
That's the point.
And then they will take it and then
the harvest.
Yes, and then the next day they will say, "Oh, that witch that flew last night."
Yes, and people still do that, and it's very dangerous, right? You know, we should stay away. And again, you know, bushmeat is mammal as well, so it can whatever kills it can kill a human being.
That's right.
All right, and we draw the curtain here on this segment of Good Morning Nigeria. We'd like to thank Chukwudi for being here as always. We'll see him again tomorrow, God willing.
Thank you, Kirian, and please hasten to take me to that bushmeat and palm wine joint of yours.
We'll talk about that. All right, you're watching Good Morning Nigeria here on NTA Network Service. We'll take a short break now. When we come back, we'll focus our attention on the review of the 9th National Assembly. Stay with us.
Today, faith and destiny join together to place the touch of human progress in our very hands. We dare not let it slip. We lift high this torch so that it might shine on every household and in every heart that calls itself Nigeria. We hold the beam aloft because it lights our path with compassion, brotherhood, and peace. May this great light never extinguish.
Bye, Mom.
He's going to play in this weather. Why did you let him go? He might fall ill.
And if he doesn't go out for practice, how will he win more trophies? To protect our family from illness-causing germs during the rainy season, we use Dettol soap every day.
Dettol with germ defense gives you protection. Raining season brings a lot of germs, and Dettol soap's germ defense protects you from up to 100 illness-causing germs. Dettol soap is endorsed by the Nigerian Medical Association. Be Dettol Show.
The counsel of our fathers.
I will urge and advise our younger generation to use talent and brain to sort out problems, not arms.
Nigerian youths, let's build our nation together.
you have to move from the point where you protect and defend your religion to a point where you also recognize the rights of the other person, of the other religion, and protect it. So if I am protecting my own territory and my own people and trying to emphasize their rights and protect their rights, I should also be thinking about how to protect the rights of the others.
Both Islam and Christianity recognize and defer to God, and both recognize the temporariness of the life of this world, and that ultimately we all go back to God for the day of reckoning, when everybody will render an account of his life on this temporary abode.
All right, we thank you for staying with us. Now, we are reaching you live as always on NTA studios here in Abuja. And to begin our conversation on the topic that we have today, we'll take this background report put together by Oyeyemi Ajayi. But before we delve proper into the program, we shall be establishing a link with our correspondent at the National Assembly to give us an update on what is taking place there at the moment. But for now, let's get to Oyeyemi Ajayi for a background report.
The end of the 9th National Assembly ushers in commencement of the 10th National Assembly. No doubt, a review of both chambers of the legislature could be said to have recorded some successes in carrying out their duties, as well as some pending issues of national concerns, which will hopefully be deliberated, decided and acted on by the 10th Assembly. With the commencement of another era in the legislature, of utmost importance is the election of the principal officers in the Senate and the House of Representatives, a tug of war yet to be settled. President Bola Tinubu had tasked the Assembly to ensure that double nominations were avoided in both chambers. The stepping down of Aliu Bitara and Yusuf Gaji, two major aspirants in the race for the speakership position in the House of Representatives, brought a twist to the contest, reportedly clearing the coast for Tajuddin Abbas. This comes after a meeting with President Bola Tinubu and Vice President Kashim Shettima. As for the seat of the Senate President, the battle continues as votes from members will decide. So, what effect will this new assembly have, and how cordial can the relationship between the legislature and the executive be in this 10th assembly? These are some questions our guest will be answering shortly.
All right, thank you very much, Oyeyemi Ajayi, for that backgrounder. And as my colleague Kirian stated a while ago, or is trying to establish link with our correspondent, Ignatius, who is at the National Assembly complex at the moment. Ignatius, if we can see you, let's have a feel. All right, it's right there on the right side of our screen. Ignatius, good morning, and fill us in with what is happening at the moment at the National Assembly.
Good morning, Kingsley. Good morning, Nigeria. Well, this is exactly 44 minutes past 7 o'clock this morning. And, well, you can see I am not just at the National Assembly, I'm inside the chamber where the election of presiding officers of the Senate will be taking place any moment from now. Well, if you can see from here, you see that people are beginning to enter, media people. Before now, people are supposed to have seated here, but at the gate, at the entrance of the National Assembly, people are not allowed to enter. There was a total blockade of the gate. In fact, some of the senators who are supposed to be here at the moment, they are all outside the gate, and some members of the House of Representatives too, who are supposed to be in their chamber as well, who want to witness this event here. Some of them are still outside. In fact, some of us that entered have to smuggle ourselves in here. If you find out, you can see that usually in this chamber, when there's an election of the presiding officers taking place, before 2 hours before now, you can see all the chamber is flooded with cameramen all over the place, cameras, but you can see just few of them. In fact, as of 7 o'clock, 7 minutes past, it was only NTA reporter that was inside this chamber. That is how critical it was at that point. But now, I think it's beginning to ease off. Some of the people are beginning to enter up here at the chamber. But the most interesting thing is that the three major contestants for the position of the president of the Senate are all inside the chamber. The Indian past chief whip of the 9th Senate, Odjus Okalo, is in the chamber. The former governor of Zamfara State, Abdulaziz Yare, if you can see clearly, you might see some of them at the back there. He's inside the chamber. Former senator from Imo State, Osta Ismaso, is in the chamber here. The former governor of Akwa Ibom State, Godswill Akpabio, is in the chamber. In fact, all the contestants are here. But I will tell you that some of the senators are not here. It's quite serious, you know. But we hope that any moment from now, before the election will commence proper, that they will come in. But you can see the clerks, the Senate to the National Assembly, that's the clerk to the National Assembly, Magaji Tambowal, and then the clerk to the Senate, Chinedu Akabweze. These are people who are going to administer this thing. In the next 1 hour, when this thing will take off, the presiding officers will be the clerk to the National Assembly and clerk to the Senate. And those people are already seated here, dressed in their festival, their ceremonial regalia, showing that the event will soon take place.
Ignatius, let me take you back to what happened at the gate. You passed through there, so you must have experienced, what transpired. In your view, what reasons are the security operatives giving as to why people are not allowed to access the National Assembly, especially, of course, those who are members-elect who are supposed to be inaugurated today? It sounds strange, that people are not allowed to come in. What are the reasons being adduced as to why that should happen?
Well, Kirian, these are security issues. We don't expect them to tell us or divulge why they are doing what they are doing. But the issue is that they are saying that they want to stop unauthorized people. Yesterday, from 10 o'clock in the morning to almost midnight, people who are supposed to be here, officials who are supposed to be here, the media, National Assembly staff, and the rest of them underwent accreditation. So the security are saying that they don't want people who are not accredited, who are not supposed to be in here, who have not been approved to enter here, who don't have accreditation tag to enter because of that the surge of the crowd. In fact, that was the reason they're giving. But people begin to wonder, why is it that you're not allowing some of the people who are already elected, who have the tag to enter? But the reason still, they said that if they open the gates and say this senator enter, or this House of Rep member elect enter, that other people will use the opportunity to enter inside the gate. It's quite serious there.
Ignatius, we are still with you. Well, you have tried to explain on behalf of the security personnel who are manning the gates at the National Assembly. But give us a lowdown, as it were, of the schedule of activities this morning. When is the clerk due to call the House of Representatives, the Senate, to order and then commence proceedings by first of all administering the oath on the members-elect?
Well, Kingsley, I seem not to hear you clearly, but if I would be able to, decipher what you just said, I think by 10 o'clock we expect this event to start proper. Now, by then, the clerk to the National Assembly will come and read the proclamation of Mr. President. In fact, the first sitting of a parliamentary assembly is first called to order through a written command approval from the president, which is the proclamation letter. We know that before this time, the president had written a letter dissolving the 9th assembly. That is only where the 10th assembly will be inaugurated. And that is what will happen. By 10 o'clock, we expect that the clerk to the National Assembly will come in here, welcome the senators-elect, make sure that all of them are seated, and then he will call the clerk to Mr. President, and then tell them that this election will take place in line with the provisions of the standing orders of the Senate. He must mention the edition, but we're going to do the 22 amended. Now he will read it, and then after that, he will sit down and invite the clerk to the Senate to now come and call attendance of all the senators-elect and make sure that all of them are here as seated to be sure that they've gotten the quorum to talk of the members-elect, senators-elect. After that, the clerk will now sit down, and then a senator will stand up and nominate a senator whom he wants to stand in as president of the 10th Senate. Now, if there are other people that want other people to contest, if there are more than one of them, then they will go for election. But if only one person is nominated and other people will step down, there won't be need for election. The clerk to the National Assembly will simply declare the person so nominated as the president of the 10th Senate. And by so doing, the whole process, the whole electoral process is cut short, and they will just pronounce the president. But Kingsley, it's very important to know that today, no motion is allowed, no bill is entertained, no petition. The only business of the day is the election of presiding officers, which will be done by the clerk to the National Assembly. And after the clerk to the National Assembly had done announcing the winner, the Senate President, and the Deputy Senate President, he leaves the Senate chamber, and then the President of the Senate elected will now administer oath of office to the all senators elect, the 108 senators elect. But then the clerk to the National Assembly will leave the Senate chamber to the House of Representatives to go and conduct that one there.
Ignatius, we're going to let you go, but not until you just answer this one, away from, the security and other things you have been able to explain to us this morning. You know about horse trading. You've covered the National Assembly for some years now, and you have experience. So what are you looking at about the voting pattern and what you expect to have based on the horse trading and a lot of meetings, up to yesterday that's taking place, with a view to getting the leaders of the 10th National Assembly. What are your readings?
Well, the temperature here is calm. I will tell you, it's quite different from what people expect outside. But these are matured men. These are, so to say, elder statesmen. They have a way of doing their things. But inside the chamber here, you find out that there are still some bargaining going. There are still some talks. There are still some alliances going. It's election. It's going to be by secret ballot. So most times, some people will say they will vote for this person, but at the end of the day, you still vote for another person, and nobody knows who they voted for. So at this point in time, it's the results that will show who and who had got the highest votes. We've seen situations where, in the end of the day, the alliance between the majority party and the minority party doesn't work. But sometimes we've seen that in most cases, it works. And the majority party, in fact, all the candidates vying for the president of the Senate are all coming from the majority party, all of them. And, like with some of our reporters did say, 56 of them here are from the APC, 36 PDP, Labour Party 8, NNPP 2, SDP and YPP and APGA, SDP 2, YPP and APGA 1. So, you see, they need this bargaining, they need this collaboration to make sure that they have a majority winning. Is the highest number takes it. So what we see here is that the atmosphere is calm. I must tell you, nothing like the temperature is not heated here at the moment. I'm telling you at the moment, but we think at the end of the day, the president of the 10th Senate, the 16th indigenous president of the 10th Senate will emerge after this election.
Okay, Ignatius, just before we let you go in the meantime and then get on with our guests here in the studios, tell us and our viewers something about the venue that will be used for today's proceedings, and namely the convocation of the 10th Assembly. These look to be still the temporary sitting locations because the usual chambers are undergoing renovation. Is there any accommodation for visitors in the public gallery, or only the press will be allowed into the chambers?
Yes, like I did say earlier, where I'm sitting here is one of the conference rooms where public hearings take place. But because of the rehabilitation of the main chamber, which is at the lobby, they won't be sitting there. This is where the election will take place. And because of that, it affected some other modalities and some other preparations they used to do. Before now, each senator-elect will come in here with about 4 or 5 guests. They'll be allowed, but then they will sit at the gallery up at the main chamber. But because of this, the venue where they're seated, it's not enough to accommodate them. So they now say that each guest will come in alone. And then to enter inside the precinct of the National Assembly, you will come in with only one guest. But the guests will not come to the chamber. The guests, there's a place at the arcade, the center of the parliament, where they used to park cars there. So what happened is that there are 2 big tents that were erected there. So those guests that are coming from them, each guest that comes with each senator-elect will have to sit there. There's a projector there where they'll be observing proceedings.
All right, Ignatius Nkwo, correspondent at the National Assembly. We appreciate your analysis this morning, and we'll be returning to you in the course of this program. So please be on the watch out when we signal your end for you to come online again with us. Thank you immensely for being with us this morning. And on that note, we return to the studio. Of course, our guests are seated already. First, let me introduce Honorable Farouk Adamu Aliyu, former member and minority leader, House of Representatives. He's from Jigawa State. So you're welcome to the program.
Thank you. Good morning, Nigeria.
And we also have here with us Honorable Ibrahim Yunusa, a lawyer and former Deputy Chief Whip, Kogi State House of Assembly. So it's a pleasure.
Thank you, sir. All right, let's begin with Honorable Farouk Adamu Aliyu. We'll contextualize what today means for a lawmaker who is a freshman, or for a lawmaker who will now, of course, be a ranking member after being sworn in today.
Well, good morning, Nigeria. You see, it all depends on, just like what you said, whether you're a new member or a returning member. Now, for the new members, it's excitement, of course, coming to the chamber for the first time to represent your people and your nation as well. So you're coming in there with high hopes to put in your best, to do what you're voted for. And for the returning members, who are cognate members, are coming back to consolidate, also to seek for leadership, just like what's going to happen today. So some, because by the Senate and House rules, only cognate members can, participate in, to be leaders of both chambers. Unless if there's, maybe when the assembly is starting, everybody is new. But for experience, you find out that most of the rules are set for cognate members, so that you don't elect a president who does not know how to even get into the chamber, a motion and a bill, or how to do things and so on. So that's how it is, for the beginning. Today, as I said, the cognate members will carry the day because there shall be election, and the election will be for the leadership from amongst the cognate members, who will then take over. But just let me just make comment about what Unko said. He said very well, honestly, and all the proclamation by Mr. President, and then of course the clerk of National Assembly will conduct the business of the day. And in doing that, there will be a lot of horse trading. Thank God the chamber is calm. But I can tell you that among the members is not really calm, because a lot of horse trading, a lot of bargaining, a lot of lobbying has been going on throughout the night and up till this morning, where the APC, which is the dominant party, has more than one candidate in both chambers. So, but we are hoping that there will be civility. What I'm saying, democracy also has civility in it, where the members, like the senators, will among themselves agree. And if they don't agree, voting patterns should be done in such a way that it will be transparent, so that whoever wins will know that he has won by the majority votes of his colleagues. And then the person who loses will know that you've lost because your colleagues did not vote for you, so that there will be harmony. Because look, in the long run, we are all going to, when you get into the chamber, it's not a matter of party now. It's a matter of your country. Now, you don't say, I am representing so, and I'm not speaking, So I hope my colleagues, both in the red chamber and the green chamber, will understand that, look, they have enormous responsibility, that in showcasing the civility of this country, showcasing that, look, we are human beings and that we should, adopt the best practices and ensure that today comes out to be one of the best in our democratic process.
Yes. You mentioned that there is relative calm presently in the chamber, but that is not really calm, because there's hot swelling and what have you. Looking at the entire scenario of the 10th Assembly, the composition that we're expecting today, the leadership of the 10th Assembly, give us an idea, your own idea of, what do you think about balancing, about equity, about fairness in the distribution of authority positions, in that National Assembly, looking at Nigeria and our peculiarity.
Yes, Nigeria being a country of diversity, both in terms of religion, ethnicity, tribe, and what have you. Yes, there should be semblance of unity amongst us. There should be semblance of feeling, having all Nigerians feel that, look, we belong to this chamber, we belong to this assembly. But then politics, sadly, there is no morality in politics. You find out that just like the crisis that started about the Muslim.
Sir, is it just in Nigeria that there is no morality in politics?
No. All over the world.
All over the world.
All over the world.
No morality at all in politics?
Well, but let me tell you. You see, first of all, you have the interest of your party because you didn't come there on your own. You came under sponsorship of a political party. So the interest of the party is supreme. As of today, the party says this is what we want. You ought to agree with the party, but that does not mean you cannot go for your rights. Because the party brings you there. The constitution of this country does not allow membership of, like I, Farouk Adamu, to just go and stand election. You have to be sponsored by a party. So the party that sponsors all of them need to guide them. Unlike the parties I'm sure have by today, all the parties would have said, look, this is what we prefer to happen. Like the ruling party has already said what they wanted. And I'm sure the opposition parties too would have probably told them, look, align with the government candidate or make sure you don't align with the government candidate. So that's all part of the whole story that I was talking about.
So there should be no non-partisan issues, things that could be handled without being partisan about it. That would just be so loyal to a party that when the nation perhaps is having issues, we consider party first before the nation or something. I'm just trying to get at the mentality of Nigerian politicians. What is their mentality? Well, what we have said, for instance, that there's no morality in politics, it means that, look, some of them who go out of their way to do some impunity, they don't bother because there's no moral in that. And so that's what Nigerians are worried about. And now we're trying to constitute the main leaders of the National Assembly, which is the nucleus of democracy, if you ask me. And we are gambling with balancing, gambling with equity, fairness, and the obeying party, and whatever. So what do we make of the? I'm a little bit confused about
Well, you see, yes, in terms of diversity, inclusiveness, the politicians ought to know that, look, you probably need to have a country first before you could even be a member, before you could be anything. So the politicians ought to know that, look, you don't just break the country. You don't, because of your personal interest, bring about division in the country. So the politicians, like the members, my colleagues in the National Assembly, ought to see this. That, look, there are some people who feel, like the Christians in this country now, feel like the Muslims have taken everything. So Muslims probably need to look at it, that, look, okay, probably we should make some sacrifice. Probably we should do that for the unity of the country. But, in trying to do that, there should be politicking. In trying to do that, you don't just come and say, look, I'm a Christian, we did not get the presidency and the vice presidency, so we must get this. No, you need to lobby. You need to also appeal to the sentiments of those who want to contest. Because the constitution of this country does not recognize whether you're a Muslim or you're a Christian. But the diverse nature of the country now, behoves on us that, look, even if the constitution did not say so, will your actions bring peace in the country or not? So the politicians need to look at it, that, look, our utterances should not be seen to be divisive, our utterances or our conduct should not bring about division in the country. Because, as I said, you need to have the country first.
All right, Honorable Farouk Adabu, thank you very much there for your explanation. We'll come to you presently. Let's bring in Honorable Ibrahim Yunusa, a lawyer and the former Deputy Chief Whip, Kogi House of Assembly. The lead up to the inauguration of the 10th Assembly has, many would say, been very intriguing. This obviously has had to do with the choice, ultimately, of the presiding officers of the two chambers of the National Assembly. What do you make of all of the noise, if you know, I use noise collectively now, noise that you have heard with regard to who should be and who shouldn't be, and how should the 10th Assembly proceed therefrom?
Thank you very much. My own opinion is that the party made a false start in its approach in handling the issue. Before a house is convened, there are always behind the scenes meetings where nobody is even invited, especially only those that are invited to that meeting. And discussions in that line are supposed to be confidential. So you don't even know what is happening until you get to the floor of the House. But unfortunately, right from day one, the effort to agree on zoning was made public, and government already showed the direction it was going to go. But unfortunately, it is likely to raise controversies because people are from diverse backgrounds, from diverse community, and they have a lot of interest to protect. So those who receive your position at first instance will be very shocked. Why did government just went this way without making appropriate consultation? But government will feel that it is carrying the members-elect along.
Are you using the word government advisedly?
Yes, when I mean the government, I mean the party that is in charge of the government feels that it's carrying its members along, and you are going to see that there is this interest balancing that will become more difficult. But like I said, it is normal at the beginning of any house, at the inauguration of any house. There is always opposition, those that are for and against. But if the party carefully manages it, the party will prevail, because all of us come into this assembly on the platform of a party. They gave you their platform, and the party says this is where we are going. And in this particular instance, I think the party and the president have given elaborate reasons why this option was made. And in my opinion, every reasonable member-elect should follow the direction of the party, because they feel that to balance the scale, this is the appropriate thing to do. And deviating from the party may not even lead to stability in the 10th Assembly. We know it happened before, but we also know the disadvantage that the polity had to suffer. The executive had no confidence in the leadership of the Assembly, of National Assembly, and each time it even comes to signing bills that have been passed into law, there is this element of some doubt beclouding the whole event. It does not lead to confidence in the legislature. It does not lead to confidence in the government. So my own appeal is that let the members elect to party line. If anything goes wrong, the party will be to blame.
Okay, sir. I'm still staying with you. You know, because you're a party man, just like Honorable Farouk. You know, this party thing that we talk about, it's interesting really, because the party is what's going to convey you to power. Understood. And again, some persons in the past have said, look, this party thing in some occasions, you know, changed a lot of things and bring in some challenges. What is party? In this country, we've had party chairmen being removed one after the other. All the parties, not just one, all the parties that have existed in this country. You see that chairman being brought down today, tomorrow the other person is there, and tomorrow that person will have crisis, and on and on and on. So who is this party? When you say two-party line, when you two-party line, and party line, you know, does not reflect what the Nigerian society wants. We're just talking about party. You know, now the party has come up with something, but some persons in the same party are still opposing it because they saw some unrealistic things going on. One of the members even had to shed tears, you know, in the valedictory session to say, look, that his area is being marginalized, and yet the party has what they have done, and other members of the party are also saying no to that. That is why people are here with C contesting and what have you. So, well, I don't know. You are a practical politician. I am not, but you know, we have a good understanding of what is being played out. So what do you think should be done at this point? We'll talk about balancing equity, fairness, and what have you.
Well, let us not forget, ours is a young democracy. It's a young democracy, and it is bound to pass through this turbulence. And we hope that after some ages, it will stabilize, and national consensus will be built. This party we are talking, they are made up of human beings, and the dynamics keep on changing from time to time. All these chairmen that you see elected and removed are the dynamics of interest that varies from time to time. And it has to continue like that until national consensus is built among the practitioners. It is not going to be easy, but like I said, the democracy is still growing. So this thing should not surprise us. Even to get nominated from your constituency, you can see the interplay that happens. The party has to come in sometimes to stabilize the politics, which enable you to get nominated from your constituency. So if you get nominated and got elected in that manner, you don't just wake up, say, now I'm elected, I'm a big man, now I'm independent, and push aside the party. Our elders say you follow the place you follow to climb a tree, you preserve that place because you are going to come down.
That is if the ladder is strong. Right. Not when you climb the ladder, a shaky ladder. Right. Now this chairman you are removing and proving, it's shaky.
But it was shaky when you got elected,
on a solid foundation. Sir, under normal circumstances, we are human beings, and these things I'm talking about is that ubiquitous. What just like science, what plays that in the US or elsewhere. We're talking about believability. We are talking about behaviorals. We're talking about having basic understanding of life and reality of life, not what party says. You know, that's why some of us are beginning to campaign for independent candidates. Well, this party thing has taken over the whole place. So somebody can independently campaign and win the election. If he's a good man, people will vote him in. So is this party not really disrupting whatever we are trying to build as a democracy?
Well, Kieran, unfortunately, that's a pertinent question, and I believe it's somewhat normative. That's something you deal with in the future. Until we amend the constitution, there can be no independent candidacy. Once there's independent candidacy, run, we will vote for you.
Oh, well, of course I will. Of course.
So, Honorable Farouk, I want to come back to you. Earlier in our newspaper review segment, I draw attention to the fact that the race for the leadership of the 10th Assembly had tended to be a matter played out in the public domain, and that the optics appeared not to be quite right for what we needed to do. You billboards all over the place, interactions with a branch of government that you ordinarily should oversight in the doctrine of separation of powers. And Honorable Unisa has said that these are matters that ordinarily should have been heard behind closed doors. The Fourth Republic is not a new republic. It's 24 years old by May 29th, he was 24 years old. And that's the Fourth Republic. And we also had the experience of a presidential system under the Second Republic. What do you make of the quest, as it were, for the leadership of the 10th Assembly, as though it were such a critical matter that would involve every and everyone? Are there compromises that might then impede the efficient running of the 10th Assembly? Because the outgoing Assembly, unfortunately, tried as it might, never could overcome the label of being a rubber stamp assembly. Honorable Farouk.
Well, okay. You see, first of all, party. You know, as of today, just like what you said, the Constitution said only party. You know, so a lot of things revolve around the party. But then coming to your question of billboards all over the place, the horse trading and so on, I think just like what my colleague said, I think the party, APC, my party actually, you know, made a tactful mistake, really, because you could see in the interactions they had with the candidates, you know, the chairman owned up that, look, we are sorry we didn't consult widely, you know, but then the party has apologized that they didn't consult widely. And then coming back to what you're saying, why this thing in public, the journalists and other people are the same that will complain. Why are these things being done in secrecy? This is politics, so people need to know what's happening. And I'm sure, in the quest for transparency, you know, trying to show that, look, we want to take everybody along. Now they goofed, you know. Now we know better. The next time, there should be certain things should be discussed privately before they are let out of the car. But now that that has happened, what do we do to remedy the situation? So what we do to remedy the situation is, look, let us all come back to our senses that, look, we need a country. We need to have the country first. So when people, you know, you're contesting to be Senate President or Speaker, you put billboards all over Abuja. What are you trying to say? What does it matter? To me, that's affluence, you know, to show that you have money. Or you can just do that because you don't need to do that. You need to campaign amongst your colleagues. Simple. So when you go about doing that or allegedly dishing out money and so on, that is all not, you know, it's not supposed to be like that. You're supposed to talk to your colleagues, talk to the party, and then, of course, the executive should have interest world over. More so in African society or in Nigeria. What happened in 2015 when the party, the government wanted somebody, you know, and it didn't happen, and you see what has happened, you know, a lot of crisis. So the party should have interest, but then also, I mean, the government should have interest, but then the government also should be responsible. The government ought not to be seen publicly that this is whom we want. The government should have privately, covertly, use some people, look, we want this person, but without necessarily seeing the hands of government. So that, because there are, and also unfortunately for my party, the APC, we don't have the absolute majority in both chambers. So today, if all the opposition members decide who becomes the Senate President, it will happen. Or in the House of Reps, because we don't have the total majority. So which means, you know, the party made a mistake, and by extension the government, by letting out the cat, you know, that, look, we want Abbas, we want Akpabio and so on, you know, but look, because of one mistake, should we put the country on fire? The government made mistake or the party made mistake? Hey, my colleagues should please think of the country. Truly, rightly, the Christians in this country feel so bad that the Muslim, if anybody says the Muslim ticket did not bring problem, it has. There are people who still don't believe. And look, unfortunately, until we become probably like other countries where being a Muslim or a Christian does not matter. Because look, when President Buhari was there, were the Muslims in this country better off? Or when Jonathan Goodluck was president, were the Christians in this country better off? So we're looking for a leader from whichever divide that can unite us, that can lead the country in good stead for all of us. But unfortunately, you want a Fulani man because I'm Fulani, you want a Yoruba man because sadly so. But we hope the president now, we pray to God, may he lead this country in such a way that nobody from onwards will look at any leader like a Muslim or a Christian. I hope and pray President Bola Tinubu will bring everybody on board, will lead us as a leader, a great leader who will abide by the oath of office and oath of allegiance. Because if leaders abide by that, there wouldn't be problem. But unfortunately, you swear by the Constitution today, and the next morning you do another thing. So unfortunately, these are the kind of things that, that bring problems. So I hope President Tinubu will be different.
Yeah, and that's what I've just said, also points out to morality. You took an oath, and the next day, you're not adhering to the oath you took. So moral comes in there. So there's moral in everything that we do. It depends on individuals, and the line you wish to toe. Right. We have a new guest joining us this morning, and I guess you're Kingsley Ago. Yes, Kingsley Ago is a Community Engagement Director, Connected Development Cool. It's good to see you.
Thank you
All right.
very much.
We waited for you up till now. Right. Of course, the topic for conversation this morning. Let's get your first contribution as to what is playing out. The National Assembly is about to be constituted. And of course, we are talking about the positions of authority to govern the two chambers of the National Assembly. We've heard about horse trading, we've heard about all manner of politicking that's gone down and still going on. Right, but by 2 p.m. all that will be over. What are you looking at? From which angle are you looking at what is playing out at the moment?
So, thank you very much for having me once again. So I'll come from the angle of the members allowing national interest to supersede either party or personal interest. Because once we can actually have members that will make decisions to elect the right leaders that will lead the 10th National Assembly, then we'll begin to have leaders that would stamp their foot, especially when matters of national discourse are being discussed, or when issues that borders against the constituencies which they are representing, then we'll begin to have the right kind of leaders we want. Because for me, yes, the party will definitely come up and they will say the party is supreme. But then I ask myself this question each time: in whose interest is the party making that decision? In the interest of the party, or the interest of the members representing their constituencies, or the interest of the people which the members are representing? And for me, the office of the citizens supersedes whatever office that's there. So it has to be in the interest of the constituencies which the members are representing. So if we're not taking this into cognizance, we might not get the kind of leadership we want. I think I'll just leave it at this point.
All right, thank you, Kingsley Ago. Honorable Yunusa. On Good Morning Nigeria over the years, one of the issues that we have focused on has had to do with political party management. And I know we've talked about political party getting it right. All of the political parties, without exception, whether you have a majority or a minority or otherwise, when do we get into a more streamlined approach to issues of this nature so that these matters are handled within? For instance, the return to the caucus system. And obviously, you will say, if you are the National Assembly, you have a state caucus. If you are the National Assembly, you have a zonal caucus. If you are the National Assembly, you then have a party caucus. And it appears, I know Honorable Farouk Adamu was creating the alibi that the media or some elements in the media pressured the operatives to do what they did in the name of transparency. Let this be out in the open. It is usually decisions from caucuses that you see. And then these decisions, once they are arrived at, of course, would have been considered decisions. When are we likely to get back to it? So that I was assuming all of us here come from one state. and we resolve. We take it to the zonal level. The zonal level resolves. Take it to the party level. The party resolves. Everybody prepare for the inauguration of the National Assembly. Make your choices, and then you get on with the business. When are we going to, as I asked, get on with these proper levels of organization of politicians and then of elected politicians?
Well, this caucus thing is available even in party constitutions. And I think they are being observed. I remembered I belonged to the PDP party. And when I was in the House, we had the local government caucus. We met there, discussed matters affecting the local government, including a choice of who becomes the chairman at that material time. Then we take that decision even to state caucus, from local government to local government. We review it and agree on a position. In the House, we also have a caucus in the House. I remember the governor meets with at least 2/3 members of the House at a private caucus where matters of states are resolved. And when such matters get to the floor,
Go ahead.
When such matters,
we're sorry for the distraction.
Yes.
We're just being informed that we'll be going back to the National Assembly after you land.
Okay. And when such matters get to the floor of the House, it is passed without almost no critical debate.
All right. I'm sorry, Honorable, but Yunusa, we have to pause you because we are getting the signals from the Senate chambers in the National Assembly. You can see that on the right side of your screen. If our correspondent Ignatius Ukwa is there, okay, now we understand we can't immediately get the audio of our correspondent Ignatius Ukwa, but you can see the visuals. And if there is any audio feed also from the National Assembly, we can take that in the meantime.
He was re-elected for a second time in office as governor in 2011. The period of His Excellency Akpabio's term in office resulted in uncommon transformation of fortunes of the state in every single sector, placing Akwa Ibom State definitely on the national stage as one of the premier destinations for investment and tourism. In 2015, Senator Akpabio contested and won the Senate seat of Akwa Ibom Northwest Senatorial District, given the mandate to represent his people in the Senate of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. He was further nominated by his peers and colleagues for the position of Senate Minority Leader, a position he held until his resignation and subsequent defection to the Party of Progressive, the APC, in 2018. In July 2019, he was called on by Mr. President Muhammadu Buhari to serve in the Federal Executive Council, and on confirmation by the National Assembly, sworn in as a Minister of the Federal Republic of Nigeria for Niger Delta Affairs. In June 2022, Akpabio resigned from their position to contest in the presidential primaries of APC. He ultimately shelved his ambition and threw all his support behind.
Go ahead. We are reaching you straight direct from the floor of the Senate, where the election of presiding officers of the 10th Senate has just commenced. Well, the person reading on the floor is Senator Aline Dume, who just nominated Senator Godswill Akpabio to stand in as candidate for the president of the 10th Senate. At the moment, he's reading his biography.
On his achievement for his previous spell at the National Assembly. Distinguished colleagues, it is my utmost honor and privilege to now present to you His Excellency Senator Godswill Akpabio for the Senate Presidency of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Where is he? Please stand up. Thank you.
They are senators elect.
I know you will come after me. These are the residents of my
Yeah. Any seconder, senator-elect.
Arise to second the nomination of Senator-elect Godswill Obot Akpabio to take the seat of the President of the Senate of the 10th Senate of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. I so second. My name is Solomon Adiola Olamilekon, Senator-elect representing Ogun West.
Senator-elect Godwin Akpabio. Thank you.
I rise to accept the nomination to become the Senate President of the 10th Senate of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. I so accept.
Are there further nominations? Senator-elect.
The clerk of the National Assembly, CNA, the clerk of the Senate, distinguished colleagues, senators-elect. My name is Senator Ishaku Abo. I represent the good people of Adamawa North in the 10th Senate. I rise on my feet to nominate distinguished Senator-elect Abdulaziz Yari to take the chair in the Senate as the President of the 10th Senate. Distinguished colleagues, Senator Abdulaziz Yari was born on 1st January 1969 in Talata Mafara, Zamfara State. Abdulaziz Yari, of course, is the immediate past governor of Zamfara State, though not very immediate. He served between 2011 to 2019 on the platform of APC, ANPP, which subsequently became the APC. As I said earlier, he was born in Zamfara State. He attended Talata Mafara Township Primary School, went to Government Teachers College Bakura, Zamfara State, attended Sokoto State Polytechnic, then Sokoto State, and went also to KB Polytechnic for his higher national diploma. Distinguished Senator Abdulaziz Yari is a workaholic, detribalized Nigerian, an honest man, gentleman to the core. And with this, I have the honor of presenting to the 10 senators-elect, distinguished Senator Abdulaziz Yari, to take the chair as the President of the 10th Senate. I so move. No point of order. No point of order. whatever, because
you can overrule.
It's a purely an academic exercise. So why should we waste our precious time?
At the heat of that, you can do.
Why should we? Yes, because it is Section 60 of the 1999 Constitution as amended gave us the power, gave the Senate the power to regulate its proceedings. And based on Section 60 of the Constitution, these rules were made. As Order 3, Sub Rule 2, Sub Rule 1, 2, and 3 is very clear and unambiguous as to who is eligible to be President of the Senate. So we must go by the literal interpretation of Order 3, Rule 2, Sub Rule 1, 2, and 3. The Constitution is the grand norm of the land, and therefore we should abide by the provision of the Constitution. Because whatever we do in respect of this nomination is an exercise in futility. Why should we waste the precious time of the Senate? Mr. Clark, let us say it for the record. For the record. Because whatever we do is an exercise in futility. You cannot put something on. He's in trouble and he cannot talk.
Let's go and visit the court. Take us to court.
It needs to.
It's okay now.
Distinguished the clerk of the National Assembly, very distinguished the clerk of the National Assembly, the clerk of the Senate, my very distinguished of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. My names are Jimo Fononsho Ibrahim from Ondo South. I second the nomination on the floor raised by Senator Abo. The clerk of the National Assembly, Dr. Jimo Ibrahim, Commander of the Order of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, Senator-elect South Central District. I second the motion on the nomination made by Senator Abo in respect of the chair of the Senate nominating Abdulaziz Yari. I so second.
Mr. Clark, distinguished colleagues, I remain Abdulaziz Abubakar Yari. I represent the good people of Zamfara West. Mr. Clark, I'm from Zamfara State. I first accept the nomination of Ishako Abo to take the seat of the Senate President of the 10th National Assembly. Mr. Clark,
Yeah, what you can see on the floor there is a little misunderstanding, so to say. But the issue is that after Senator Elisha Abu from Adamawa State nominated Abdulaziz Yari to stand in as candidate for the office of President of the 10th Senate, some of the senators raised point of order. But however, the standing orders of the Senate provide that there's nothing like motion, raising of motion or petitions on a day like this. But they are saying that Senator Abdulaziz is not qualified to contest for the candidate of President of the Senate because he's not a former senator. But from the standing rules that we have here, Order 2, subsection 2 says senators who had been members of the House of Representatives can as well stand in as candidate of President of the Senate.
Please, order, please. Okay. Order, please. Are there further nominations? Are there further nominations? Are there further nominations? 3 times. I've said it. In the absence of further nominations, I declare nominations closed. The next.
That is the clerk to the National Assembly, Magaji Tambowa, just announcing that only 2 candidates have been nominated so far. So he has declared the nomination closed. But what is interesting here is that 2 other candidates who, as of yesterday, were still interested, the former Chief Whip of the Senate, Ojizo Carlo, and Osita Izuna, so it appears they've all stepped down.
We are now going to proceed for the election. And election is in accordance with Order 3, Sub 3E. Now, I will now call the clerk of the Senate. Where are the ballot papers? Where are the box? Where is all this? Show them nothing in the. Yeah. The ballot papers, you will wait. You will be signing at the back. Then you give them. Show them the ballot papers. All. Okay. We have 2 cubicles, one at the right, one at the left. You now collect your, when they call your name, you come forward to collect your ballot paper, go and write the name clearly of the candidate of your choice, come and cast your vote. I will now call clerk of the Senate to call state by state, district, senatorial district on alphabetical order. Clerk of the Senate.
No. So I proceed. The clerk to the National Assembly, I now proceed. Not now. Not after voting.
After voting, please.
The clerk to the National Assembly, I now proceed to call on senators to come for voting. We'll start with Abia State. Wokocha Darlington, come forward, please. Carlo Oje Uzo, Abaribe Enyinaya Hakot, Adamawa State.
Well, yes, we have been watching proceedings at the National Assembly, Senate to be exact. Of course, they're beginning to vote. That signals the beginning of the election of the leaders of the 10th National Assembly, particularly the Senate, which is taking place at the moment. But for now, we have to appreciate our guests who have been with us on the program this morning.
Yes, but Kirian, just before we sign them off and return to the live feed from the National Assembly, I would like to ask Honorable Farouk Adamu what he thinks is playing out, because we saw some visuals and listened to the proceedings on the floor of the Senate for a while. Earlier, our correspondent had indicated to us that the proceedings will commence at 10 o'clock. But by around about 8:30, we already started having live feeds indicating that the proceedings were on. What might have happened? Do you have a sense of what's played out?
You see, unfortunately, I'm shocked, and I'm sure most Nigerians are shocked. Last night on NTA, there was an advert by the National Assembly that this proceeding will start at 10 o'clock. And your correspondent also said 10 o'clock. Why it's happening this time, I don't know why. You know, so this is the problem with this country. That's the problem. You know, if leaders will not abide by their own, the rules, because honestly, we as a people need to know what happened. Why, your correspondent said that there were commotion at the gate. So since there was commotion at the gate, what happened? They are starting at 8:30. Would there be security breach?
I think it's a question they should better answer. But I think they may have also communicated among themselves as to shift the time or adjust the time or something. Because today is also a day of merriment. Most of them are going to gather. Their members of their constituents are going to come to Abuja to celebrate today because they're going to be inaugurated. So I think they're creating space for that
to go back.
merriment aspect of today's occasion. But for now, let's thank all of you for being here. Honorable Farouk Adamu Aliyu, former member and minority leader, House of Representatives. So we thank you. Perhaps we'll bring you back here after the election when we know the leaders of the National Assembly.
Thank you.
All right, Kingsley Ago, Community Engagement Director. Thank you for coming this morning. But you didn't come quite early. Maybe next time you'll be earlier so you can make further contributions. Thank you. Honorable Ibrahim Yunusa, a lawyer and former Deputy Chief Whip, Kogi State House of Assembly. We also appreciate you being here this morning.
Thank you so much.
All right. And Kingsley, we call it a day here this morning, and we're going back to the National Assembly to, of course, watch and be part of the voting taking place at the red chambers.
Which is, of course, the Senate. So, continuing live coverage of the proceedings at the National Assembly, first being the Senate, where the choice of the presiding officers is taking place at the moment. The right side of our screen there shows, of course, the voting for the two candidates who have been nominated for the position of President of the Senate, Godswill Akpabio and Abdulaziz Yari. But Good Morning Nigeria, of course, will return tomorrow, same time, 7 o'clock in the morning. On which note, we'd like to thank you for being part of today's edition of the program. Look after yourselves. I'm Kingsley Osadolo.
And I'm Kirian Numa. I'll see you again tomorrow.